Hello, and today I just want to talk about this book, Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, by Cho Nam-Joo, translated by Jamie Chang, because why not? It's Friday evening here, and yeah, I think it's a good way to celebrate the advent of the weekend by making a book talk video about a book that I kind of liked. By kind of liked, I mean I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. So it's a nice book, yeah. But anyway, okay, Kim Jiyoung was actually a book that you know the my motivation in purchasing this book was very much a classic case of FOMO, because I was just like a newbie on booktube, on bookstagram, and I was just like browsing the net, and everywhere I saw people talking about this book, and I was like, okay, it looks kind of interesting. It has a really nice cover, has a really nice premise. And I was like, it sounds like an interesting book. And so I was like, a la the veins of normal people, I bought this book. And then I read it together with Shannon from That Sopo. We had this as a buddy read for 2 weeks. It's a fairly slim book. And then I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I enjoyed it very much. So, what is this book about? This book is a very simple book, actually. Simple in terms of the story and also in terms of the writing. It's pretty much just about the life of this one particular woman named Kim Jiyoung in a Korean society. She lives in the modern Korean society, and we see how her life unfolds, starting when she is still a young girl, all the way until she is an adult who is married. And what this book primarily talks about is generally the kinds of struggles that Kim Jiyoung has to face as a woman in modern Korean society. And the struggles that she faced, they are kind of different depending on what age Kim Jiyoung is. She faced different struggles when she was a child, and then when she became a teenager, and then as a young adult, and then as an older adult. But in general, because she's a woman, she faces tons of just pretty much, bad things, misogyny, inequalities in society, simply due to the fact that she's a woman. And so this book is actually pretty powerful in terms of what it wants to convey. I think this is something that everybody should read, regardless of where you are, because the kinds of things, the kinds of messages that this book wants to convey, it does not actually, I think it does not, just confine to the Korean society. Many things that happen to Kim Jiyoung as a woman here also happens in other parts of the world. So I think on that front, this book is a fairly important book. Will it change the world? I think not, but I think this book is still a very good book, and one that I think people should try and read. Now, something about this book that is quite special, that I find quite interesting, is the form. When I started reading this book, I was not really crazy about the writing style. Someone was like, having fireworks, outside, so you might hear that sound. But anyway, back to this one. But yeah, I read the first chapter and I was like, what? The writing is so flat. It's really simplistic, and it was monotonous. And then when I got to the second chapter, it was also flat. And then the third chapter, it was also flat. And then I was like, maybe the author is up to something in this one. And I guess my, some, the things that I suspect was kind of there because, and then, the footnotes came in this book. And then some parts of the book suddenly veers into this territory of non-fiction writing, where among the narration of Kim Jiyoung's story, suddenly there is a reference to a particular statistics or facts just pop out in the text. It's like, okay, that's really interesting. And it actually goes kind of like that sporadically all the way until the end of this book. So it kind of gives this book this really nice fiction slash non-fiction feel. It kind of blurs the line between fiction and non-fiction, which I think is quite interesting. I really like the way that it feels at the end. Overall, it has this like fun. It has this fun and interesting and really fascinating way of playing with the style and form. And I just thought that this book is just, ooh, I think it was nicely done, nicely executed. And if you ever read this book, just watch out for that ending, because there is something about that ending. It's just, in terms of the form, I think it's nice. I think it's really nice. The way that the ending is presented to you, it really makes this story, some elements of this story, especially the tone of this story, makes much more sense. And in terms of the things that you could feel about this book, there's this, okay, this is not a spoiler, but I think the ending brings this to the table, this really dark sense of irony. You might probably feel something, feel very strongly inside you when you read the ending of this book. So expect that. Expect that if you ever get to the end of this book. So I guess that's all that I'm going to say about Kim Jiyoung, born 1982. I'm actually reading another book right now on audio. It's called If I Had Your Face by Francis Cha. And I think that book is kind of like a nice spiritual spin-off, or kind of a continuation of Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, because that book also takes place in modern Korean society, and it focuses on women. It has multiple women protagonists, and plenty of the themes that popped up in here also appeared in that book, which, overall I think it kind of makes this really nice reading experience. I guess there's this some sort of continuity in the stuff that I'm reading, which I think is really interesting. I mean, it's like I'm enjoying this like tiny shared universe between these two books. So, though technically these two books, they're kind of supposed to take place in the the same kind of setting, so the whole thing makes sense. But yeah, maybe I'll talk about If I Had Your Face later once I finish that book. But anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in a different video. So until then, take care and bye bye.